Welcome back everybody to the channel, and we have an important topic to discuss in this video, and what you're seeing here is quite possibly a preview of the next generation of Nintendo and the Nintendo Switch right here with Doom Eternal, the Ancient Gods DLC. And you are seeing here something that we've been hinting at and talking about for a while now on the channel, but it does appear that Nintendo is heading in this direction for their next generation Switch. Of course, it's been talked about quite a bit on this channel about new hardware from Nintendo, and it was talked about that they were working on a next generation Switch as far back as 2019. However, the current Switch has been showing the direction where Nintendo is hinting that they want to go in for this new Switch for quite a long time. Going back all the way to 2017 when they launched the Switch, Nintendo made it a point to gather key AAA third-party support for certain games on the Nintendo Switch that made sense for it to run, and that was Dune 2016 and Skyrim, for example, in 2017. And then in 2018 they had Wolfenstein, and then in 2019 they had Mortal Kombat 11, and then The Witcher 3 and Doom Eternal followed that pattern of these key AAA games that Nintendo was getting on the Switch. However, with Doom Eternal is a very special case. If you watch the technical analysis of Doom Eternal on Digital Foundry, you'll know that the Nintendo Switch version of Doom Eternal does in fact use all the effects of the base model version of Doom Eternal, minus the new update for next-gen consoles, which adds the ray tracing and DLSS for PC. But what you're seeing here in this video is the Ancient Gods for Doom Eternal, which was released right after E3 in June 2021, and it took a little bit for me to play it, and now that I started playing it, however, I can see that this might be the most impressive use of the Nintendo Switch hardware that I have ever seen. And as you guys know, I have not given the Switch any benefit of the doubt as far as bad ports are concerned for other companies, because there have been a lot of bad ports on the Nintendo Switch, just low quality, and basically just companies trying to do things that the Switch is just not capable of doing, trying to shoehorn certain games, certain experiences on the Switch. However, for Panic Button, they have tapped into some deep magic in their development studio. No doubt they were working on this port to the Nintendo Switch probably all the way back to 2017, right after they finished with Dune 2016 on the Nintendo Switch and started with Doom Eternal alongside with id Software when they were making Doom Eternal, because they announced it in 2018, and they originally announced it to be coming day and date with the Switch and other platforms, even though the Switch version was delayed by nearly 9 months, coming at the very end of 2020. And I covered it here on the channel. It was a very impressive port. In fact, I do believe it is the best AAA port on the Nintendo Switch. And personally, it's my top 5, maybe top 3 even, games of all time so far on the Switch. Of course, I'm a huge Doom fan, so you could say I'm biased in that fact. However, this game is very good. It's widely heralded as being a fantastic game. It was nominated for Game of the Year in 2020, so everyone really knows that this is a great first-person shooter game. And if you have a Switch, you definitely should pick this up, and definitely check out the Ancient Gods DLC. It's really good. Now, what blew me away with Doom Eternal on the Switch and this new DLC, of course, I have this on the PC, and I recently upgraded my PC. I have a RTX 3080 Ti EVGA for the Win 3, which is basically the most powerful, most performance graphics card you can buy on planet Earth right now. It even outperforms the RTX 3090 in many cases, including on Doom Eternal. So I have basically the most powerful PC I can possibly afford at the moment. I have Doom Eternal on PC. It looks amazing. I can get it running at 150 frames per second with ray tracing turned on at 4K DLSS. I've seen the best graphics there are on PC. So when I'm telling you guys that this looks impressive on the Nintendo Switch, I really mean that for a fact. And even though I do appreciate having the best hardware around and the best graphics, I do recognize when a console with lower specs can achieve something that shouldn't necessarily be possible. And that is where the Nintendo Switch is right now with Doom Eternal and Panic Button. And the Ancient Gods DLC shows even more effects that weren't even happening on the first Doom Eternal version. It has even better lighting effects. It has more particle effects, like full screen rain effects, and even the raindrops collecting on your gun, for example. You can see it in the lighting in the game. It's really well done. has all the effects from the PC and PlayStation 4 versions of the DLC. In fact, I've been so impressed by the Ancient Gods DLC on Doom Eternal for the Switch, I actually forgot what system I was playing on because the game simply made me feel like I was playing Doom Eternal. There was no difference really besides the frame rate, but you do get used to that visually while you're playing it, and the controls still feel great. So I want to show you guys a very specific scene from Doom Eternal: The Ancient Gods that blew me away. It's about 2 minutes long. It's uncut from the direct capture from the game on the Nintendo Switch. Of course, using the best image quality possible by using the M cable, which you guys know I use. So take a look at this. So there you have it, Doom Eternal Ancient Gods DLC on the Nintendo Switch. Looks fantastic, plays fantastic. I highly suggest you pick it up if you don't already have Doom Eternal. Definitely pick that up as well, and all the content for the game. It is worth every penny. In fact, I have this game on the PC already, and like I said, I have all the DLC on it, so it's highly worth picking up. I highly suggest you do it. But getting back to the next generation of Nintendo, if you take a look at the pattern of what Nintendo has been doing with their ports and types of ports they've been getting on the Switch, the point is that the Nintendo Switch has been building up representation for AAA games on the console, except for basically a lot of these games are older ports, but a lot of the brand new versions, like the brand new releases for those franchises, are not coming to the Nintendo Switch. So it's very interesting because it tells you the direction Nintendo is going. They are trying to get representation for these big name franchises, AAA franchises that are usually on dedicated home consoles only, onto the Nintendo Switch. They're getting their own audience accustomed to getting these franchises on their console, which means that their next generation Switch, when it does release, probably very soon, will in fact be able to play all the new games that come out day and date with the other consoles to a much larger degree than what the Nintendo Switch is able to do currently, since we know it was a system Nintendo made a gamble on. It was using a stock chip from 2015, as we know. And the fact that it's able to get this much out of it for the Nintendo Switch with Doom Eternal Ancient Gods here, for example, is very, very impressive. It's more so to do with the developers, though, putting their money and time and resources into the Switch, like Panic Button getting the most out of it, which of course Nintendo has pushed and tried to get on their console. So despite what some people say about Nintendo and them trying to go for a younger demographic, which they do, I do believe they do try to go for all demographic as well, all the different age ranges, because the content Nintendo does have on the Switch does in fact appeal to all different age ranges of gamers. And this looks like it's going to continue on their next gen Switch because of what we've been seeing on the current Switch. They've got a lot more of these franchises that the Wii U didn't get at all, and even the Wii, for example, didn't even have. On top of that, Nintendo talked about recently how they were going to lessen the amount of mobile games they're making for smartphones and things like that. So I do think they're going to be doubling down on this home console on the go aspect for their next generation Switch, having even more AAA experiences on the go. It's exactly how Nintendo had advertised the Switch when it first came out, being a home console you can play AAA experiences on. Even though the promise itself for AAA games didn't quite pan out the way many fans expected, including myself, the key games that they wanted to get on the console and do well, they did in fact get, which is a big thing all in itself, which bodes very, very well for Nintendo going forward in the future. And as we know, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Steam Deck now, for example, they all have a lot of things coming onto their consoles, brand new games that are simply not going to be running on the current Switch. So this is where Nintendo will most likely be making their move, and they'll be offering a piece of hardware that will be able to run these games alongside with the current Switch that will continue to play the current type of games it sells now on the console. But like I said, when you think about it, you can kind of see the direction Nintendo will want to go going forward. And Doom Eternal on the Switch is a fantastic example of that. It basically feels like you're playing a downscaled, high-end PC game on the Switch. There's simply no other game like it. Pick it up, buy it, it's fantastic. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button and subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next video. Have a great day.